Well, hello and welcome into the 2020 Ben Hogan Award. It's our presentation for this year. And it's a little different. It's different because, obviously, of what we're battling with COVID-19. Generally speaking, we would all be together at Colonial Country Club, historic Colonial Country Club, getting together, enjoying stories about golf, and presenting tonight's winner. Unfortunately, we couldn't do that. But that's not going to keep us from getting together virtually here tonight. And also, it's not going to keep us from getting to know our 2020 Ben Hogan Award champion. Tonight, we will honor those student athletes remotely. And the good news is, no tuxes are required for you at home watching. Over the next half hour or so, we'll get to know our finalists. We'll also have some very special guests as we prepare for the 2020 Hogan Award winner. But first, let's get to learn a little bit more about the Hogan Award and its history right now.
Impact on college golf programs, on its winners, on Fort Worth. Recognized as the Heisman Trophy of college golf, the Ben Hogan Award is issued annually to the outstanding male amateur collegiate golfer. In addition to being the most prestigious award given to a college and amateur golfer, its founding in 1990 by Tom Harmon, a 1940 Heisman Trophy winner at Michigan and Mr. Hogan's good friend, lends the award its nickname.
The Heisman Trophy of college golf. And it couldn't be better portrayed than by the two individuals pictured in this window.
In 2002, the Ben Hogan Award was brought from Bel Air Country Club in California to Mr. Hogan's boyhood hometown of Fort Worth, Texas, and is presented at the site of 5 of his PGA Tour wins. Colonial Country Club. Since that time, the award has only grown in prestige. Recipients of the Ben Hogan Award rank among the world's best and include PGA Tour winners Matt Every, Ricky Fowler, Bill Haas, Chris Kirk, Hunter Mahan, Ryan Moore, John Rahm, Kyle Stanley, Nick Taylor, and DJ Trahan. Collectively, they've won 37 PGA tournaments, including Kirk's victory at Colonial in 2015. In 2011, Bill Haas won the $10 million FedEx Cup, just ahead of fellow Hogan alum Hunter Mahan. Ben Hogan Award winners have played in 8 Ryder Cups and 10 President's Cups, and have amassed more than $225 million in prize money on the PGA Tour. The history of PGA greats in Fort Worth is long, and it is storied. And it's a story that can't be told without the impact of the Ben Hogan Award. Tonight, Colonial Country Club, in conjunction with Konica Minolta, the Golf Coaches Association of America, and Friends of Golf, will recognize and celebrate this year's top male amateur collegiate golfer.
Well, there's no question that Ben Hogan served golf over the years with honor and distinction, as have our past champions. Let's find out now about the 3 finalists for this year who may very well be able to one day say, I was a Ben Hogan Award champion. John Augustine, Vanderbilt, a senior from Owensboro, Kentucky. A 4-time All-America from Vanderbilt, John Augustine enjoyed another sensational season in 2019 and 20. In August, he finished as the 2019 U.S. Amateur runner-up to earn exemptions into this year's Masters Tournament and the U.S. Open. In addition, he represented the United States at both the Walker Cup and Palmer Cup and sank the clinching putt for Team USA at the Walker Cup for the team's first victory on European soil since 2007. In the college season, he picked up 1 victory and 2 more top 5 finishes, was named First Team Ping All-American, SEC Golfer of the Year, and First Team All-SEC. Now he's the first ever finalist for the Ben Hogan Award from the vaunted Commodore program. A senior from Owensboro, Kentucky, John Augustine. John, good to see you, man. How are you doing?
I'm good. Just playing some golf, trying to stay sharp and wait for some opportunities to get out and play.
John, it looks like you're getting the opportunity today, man. I love the setting, dude. I like that. Scott Limbaugh's with us as well, the head coach there at Vanderbilt. Scotty, how you doing, man?
I'm doing great, Brian. How are you?
I'm doing great. Good to have you guys with us. Let's dive right into this. And John, let's start with Ben Hogan, the player, Ben Hogan, the man. What do you know about him? Have you had a chance to learn a little bit about him? Have you leaned on Scott for info on him?
Yeah, I mean, I think when the older you get and you hear so much about the history of golf, you understand how hardworking and how much you stress preparation and obviously toughness. And I think when I hear those three words, I actually think of Vanderbilt golf. Coach, you're gonna like me saying that, but I think those are three values that are very important if you want to be successful at this game. And he stood for all of that and all the right things in our sport.
Boy, Scott, I think he summed it up well when he talked about the work ethic of Ben Hogan. Give us some insight into John's work ethic and what you've seen out of him.
Yeah, I think, John's been with us for 4 years, and he's just a young person that's really, driven. And I've been quoted many times just talking about his competitive nature and his competitive character. And it's not just about his will to necessarily want to win. It's his will to want to get better every day. And I think that's the thing that drives John is that he truly wants to get better every single day. So his competition is just as much with himself as it is with anybody else. Just day by day, he shows up with a plan, and he wants to be coached and encouraged and held accountable. And as a coach, I think that's really all you want in somebody that you have the opportunity to do life with, is to coach them, encourage them, and hold them accountable.
John, where does that come from? That drive, and have you always had it?
I don't know where it comes from, but yeah, I would say I've always had it. And all the sports I grew up playing, basketball and a little bit of football, tons of baseball. I whatever I was doing, I guess I expected to be good at it, even when in those other sports maybe I hadn't practiced enough. But I've always been competitive, and I don't know. It's whatever we're doing, it's something that I'm wanting to win or not necessarily win, but at least compete, and that's really what gets me going.
You guys have a great tradition of golf there at Vanderbilt. Yeah, John, you're the first finalist for the Hogan Award from Vanderbilt. And
yeah.
I don't know if you've had a chance to look at the list of the past winners for the Hogan Award. I mean, it's a who's who in golf, so you're in pretty elite company. How's that feel?
It's great. Yeah, I mean, like you said, all the names on these lists are very, very great players, and they've gone on to do some really good things. So it's definitely an honor and a privilege to have this opportunity to be a finalist. This award means a lot, and at the beginning of the year you write down your goals, and this was one of them for me. And so I'm happy to be in this position. I wish there was a little something I could do about it to maybe solidify it, but we'll just sit here and wait and see.
Yeah, we're all kind of in a wait and see mode. Yeah, you mentioned you played a little bit of football back in the day. It's referred to as the Heisman Trophy of college golf.
Yeah. Well, not much. I didn't play much football. I'd rather watch it, but it was when I was pretty young.
Yeah. Well, at some point, if you walk away with it, you're going to have to give us that Heisman Hogan pose. So just get ready for that.
I'll do it. I'll commit to that right now if that means I'm getting.
Hey, Scott, speak to what it means to the program, too, to have a finalist now from Vanderbilt as part of the Hogan Award. What does that mean to your program?
You know what? It does mean a lot. I take great pride in the young people we've had be a part of this program during my time here, and we've had some great players before John, and John is the next great player that we've had, and for him to be our first one is pretty special. And feel like the Ben Hogan Award and college and amateur golf kind of goes hand in hand. Just like when you think of the best player in college football, you think of the Heisman, just like you mentioned. And I think this is really special step for our program. I think we're a program that has taken some great steps in the last few years, and John certainly helped us take each one of those. And I'm happy that he gets to be our first representative for this prestigious award.
And John, you've had one heck of a year, even though it's been kind of I'm going to use this phrase, goofy, to say the least, what we've all been going through. But your finish at the U.S. Amateur propels you into what was going to be an appearance at the Masters and all that sort. How have you dealt with that? And how's that been emotionally for you?
Yeah. I've dealt with it just from talking. I'm always an open book with my coaches and the small circle around me, and family, coaches, and other close supporters. And so they've been a huge help, and especially settling my mind, and what we've been experiencing lately. I think, I'm just the type of guy that I've been preparing for the Masters and the U.S. Open for a long time, you know, hitting those shots, working with my swing coach and trying to figure out little things that I can do better at that course, trying to get practice rounds in and whatnot. And so, you know, I felt prepared. I felt excited to play, but, you know, I think all this does is give me more time to get better and be maybe even more ready when it comes.
Yeah, and that opportunity is going to come for you. There's no question about that. Scott, we would be remiss if we didn't mention that you're going to benefit from him for another year, announcing he's going to come back for another year, right?
Yeah, he is. John's made that decision. And, you know, he and I we spent a lot of time this summer just discussing this. And really, you know, you just want what's best for the young person. I mean, John gave it all to us and continues to, just how he represents us with class and integrity. He just does things the right way. And so, you know, for a while, you know, he and I have been talking about this pretty much from day one, you know, what he should do and just gather information. And so, yeah, certainly, you know, as much as his golf scores, just he and I we're tight. I mean, and he trusts me and I trust him. And so to have that kind of leader back is, as much as anything, just the way he gets to share his experiences with young people and help them grow. I think that's the part as a coach. It certainly makes us a better team. It makes me a better coach having him around, but just to, you know, to have him around to extend our culture to the younger people is something that really means a lot.
Yeah, I think there's something there too that you talked about. You know, golf can be perceived as an individual sport, but I mean, it is a team game at the college level. And John, it's also an opportunity for you representing on both the Palmer Cup and on the Walker Cup teams. I mean, that's a chance for you to be a part of a group. I get the sense you like the team aspect of golf as well.
I do, yeah. You know, I think, you know, we all love the individual side too, and we all want to play well because, you know, when we play well, it helps the team. Mm-hmm. You know, I love team golf and, you know, just being able to get behind your teammates and trust them and know that they got their stuff together and that maybe you played a part in helping that is very rewarding and just it's a really just fun experience. I know that we've had some great teams and I've always looked up to the older guys and now those guys are looking up to me. And so, you know, I try to help in any way that I can. But, yeah, to answer your question, I do love team golf, and I just think that, you know, it has a strong place in our game, and especially at the college level.
Scott, let's act like John's not listening right now. You've had some great ones over the years. 24 All-Americans, I think. Justin Thomas was part of your group at Alabama. Where does he stack up?
You know, John is he's as elite as anybody I've had the opportunity to coach, and he's beginning to understand what he's got to do to win, and he's understanding himself more and more each time out. I mean, you know, he's going to have a chance to be a 5-time All-American, a 2-time Walker Cupper, made the clinching putt for the United States Walker Cup team this past summer. He's made multiple clinching putts for us. He made the shot, the putt that wins us the SEC championship in 2017. He's pretty much proved to be unbeatable in match play, and I don't use that term lightly. He's 16-2, and so you know, he's got a chance to be the best player to play golf at Vanderbilt, and that is part of his goal. He has stated he would like to do that, and we're just hoping to help him do that, and also he can help us accomplish things that we haven't accomplished yet as a program.
John, you're known for a lot. You heard Coach mention your fact that your record in match play has been tremendous, but you're also known for your hair. And I'm wondering, I had to go there, didn't I? I'm wondering how has the pandemic affected your hair, man? I mean, have you been able to still work through things okay?
Well, I hope my mom's not watching this. She's not gonna like that comment because she gives me a hard time about my hair about every day. It's not supposed to be this long right now. You know, was supposed to get a haircut right after we got back from Arizona, and then, you know, everything kind of hit the fan and things started shutting down. So it's been a while. My mom trimmed it up a little bit when I was home a week ago, and you know, that gives her peace. But it doesn't bother me. I'm just gonna wait till they open back up.
I love it, man. I love it. Hey, Scott, I want to leave with this. You talk about, you know, a lot of coaches talk about culture and things about that with a program. You say something interesting. You say a true program has a soul. How does John represent the soul of Vanderbilt golf?
Well, he represents it every day. He represents us by his desire to be great, his desire to leave what we've got here better than he found it. And he didn't get to completely leave this the way that he wanted to leave this, by the way it ended so suddenly this spring. And I would say what John Augustine does is he loves, first and foremost, he loves the people that he does life with, and he loves them strong. This dude, when he lets his guard down, he's emotional, he's caring, he's all these things that you have to do to be great. But he also cares just as much about Vanderbilt golf as he does all of these individual awards that he's up for. He's texting me during the last dance like 5 and 6 times each show saying, "Hey coach, did you see that? Hey coach, did you see this?" And he's already thinking about our culture versus what Michael Jordan and that, not comparing, but just kind of saying, "Coach, what about this? What about this for next year? What about," and that's what you want. Like he's looking at ways to take what we got and make it better. And I think that's what I'm trying to do. I don't think I've got this thing figured out by any stretch of the imagination, but I sure do like doing it with young guys like John that want to help you make it stronger every single day. And John he's committed to getting himself better, and he's committed to getting those around him that want to get better. He wants to help them improve as well.
I love that. Hey, John, let's end with this. If you were able to walk away with this award, what would that mean to you?
I think it's a tough question. I didn't think about that one before this. I think it's just such a prestigious award. And like you said, it's the Heisman of college golf. And being able to say that you were the best player for a full calendar year and in your given level is very, very special. I know at the professional level, when you win Rookie of the Year or Player of the Year, like those things aren't taken lightly, and going back to kind of Coach's comparison with Michael Jordan, he talked about, his one of his times with Karl Malone was that he didn't win the MVP and Karl did, and that hurt him a little bit. And so I think, winning that award and saying that, you were the best at what you did for an entire year is just really, really special. And of course, this award just stands for a lot of good things that we've already talked about, and I'd like to be a part of that.
That sounds great. I wish we were doing this in person, fellas. I wish we were all around a table at Colonial Country Club watching you hit some balls. We'd love it. We know you're going to do it one day soon. We're going to have you here in Fort Worth playing. So, hey, I want to thank you both for your time. John, congratulations on being one of the finalists, and we look forward to the announcement coming here soon, and hopefully you're a part of it.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
All right, Scott, thank you very much. Keep up the good work, man. Keep getting those doors moving, man.
Thanks, Brian. Have a good one, bub.
All right, there they go. Scott Limbaugh joining us. John Augustine as well, one of the finalists here for the Ben Hogan Award.
Ricky Castillo, Florida, freshman from Yorba Linda, California. Ricky Castillo is a Ben Hogan Award finalist as a freshman, joining a list that includes Patrick Cantlay, Ricky Fowler, Patrick Rogers, and Jordan Spieth. Last summer, he reached the round of 16 of the U.S. Amateur and also was a Western Amateur semifinalist and a North and South Amateur quarterfinalist. In college play, Castillo picked up 2 wins and was named the Ben Hogan Award Golfer of the Month for February. In addition, he was the National Freshman of the Year, a Ping First Team All-America, and a First Team All-SEC selection. He also will represent the United States at the 2020 Palmer Cup. He's looking to become the Gators' second Ben Hogan Award winner, joining Matt Everett in 2006. A freshman from Yorba Linda, California, Ricky Castillo.
Ricky, let's start off with this. What do you know about the Hogan Award? What did you know about Ben Hogan, and what have you learned?
Well, I knew Ben Hogan was obviously one of the greatest golfers of all time. He's one of those guys who people looked up to. Wasn't just someone that was a golfer. Was a lot more than a golfer. Reached out to people and touched people's hearts and stuff like that. So I thought that was what the Ben Hogan Award was about. Being a great golfer, but also being a great person on and off the golf course. And, that's what I always saw it as. So I always thought, the Ben Hogan Award was one of the best awards. So, to be a finalist is really, really incredible.
JC, you and I were talking before we had a chance to visit that there are traits that Ricky has that remind you of Ben Hogan. You've been a student of the game for years. What are some of those things that remind you of the great Ben Hogan with Ricky?
Yeah, I think, I've really tried to study Ben Hogan a ton. I think he's one of only 5 to have the career Grand Slam, and he won all 3 in 1 year. And the neat thing about Ricky is that's where his goals are. I was telling you about the first time I met him. He's always had an incredible focus for the game, and he wants to do those things, and he's not afraid to talk about it. He's wanted to be number 1. He did that this year, being National Freshman of the Year. And his goals are always at the highest level. And I think Hogan obviously is one of the greatest of all time. And I think the impact that he's left on the game is just incredible. And but I think probably to answer your question, the one similarity I see the most is their competitiveness. And Ricky just refuses to lose. And whether it's a ping pong game between him and I, or him and his teammates, or it's whatever it is on the golf course, especially, he wants to win, and he's going to do anything he can to do it. And I know Hogan was extremely competitive as well. So that'd probably be the first thing that sticks out.
Ricky, JC pointed out something there about being a freshman and the fact you're freshman of the year. You think about the finalists for the Hogan Award. There have been a few freshmen who've made the list, and I don't know if you've seen that. But I'm going to give you a couple of those names. Ricky Fowler, Patrick Cantlay, a guy named Jordan Spieth, Patrick Rogers. That's pretty good company you're in right there.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, seeing guys that were in my position that, are on PGA Tour, winning majors and winning huge golf tournaments, and on the PGA Tour, and to see that they're in the same position as me is really, really incredible. Really, really cool.
And here you are as a freshman at Florida, and your brother's a senior playing too, right?
Yeah. He's I think he's a senior. Yeah.
Yeah, senior at Cal State Fullerton. Was there any kind of rivalry there between you and Derek?
Yeah, me and my brother have just always been so competitive. Honestly, that's why I think me and him have just gotten so much better at golf, just because, you always had someone to try and beat, and you always had, competition. That was probably one of the biggest things that, me and my brother had that some other people didn't have, that we were both really competitive and good golfers. So, it just brought that competitiveness everywhere, that whether it was golf or, who could eat more or anything like that, anything that had to do with anything just made us really strong competitors, which is why, I just love to compete, and, so does he. And I know JC does too. And we all just want to, be the best and try to win at everything.
Well, it's interesting, JC, because Derek is kind of who brought you to Ricky, right? I mean, tell us about that process of how Ricky came into your life. You got into the Castillo's lives. How did that happen?
Yeah, Derek's always going to be really, really special to me. I never end up getting to coach him, and I guess developing the relationship that I have now with Ricky. But he was, when I started working at UNLV for Coach Dwayne Knight, Derek was probably our first really big breakthrough recruit. And Derek was the best player in California for his age at the time. And when we got him to commit to UNLV, that kind of helped our program really take off. We got some great players after him. But on Derek's first visit to UNLV, the little bro tagged along. And Ricky was probably up to about my waist at the time. And for the first hour of the visit and the meeting, he didn't say a word. And he sat on Coach Knight's couch and just kind of looked around and soaked all the memorabilia and the championships in. And I remember asking his dad, I said, is the little guy over there any good? And he goes, he's really good. And Ricky can vouch for me. The first thing I ever, other than hi, the first thing I ever said to Ricky was, you're going to play for me one day. And to see it all work out like this, and to see him kind of reaching his dreams, and me getting to be a small part of it, it's been one of the best parts of my coaching career for sure.
Now, Ricky, do you remember that? Do you remember that incident?
I do remember that. I remember when he just told me, just pointed at me and said, you're gonna play for me one day. And it's just always like when you're 10, 11 years old, you don't really think about it because it's just so far away. But for it to actually happen was, that's something special. For it to actually happen, for JC to be coaching me and to be a part of his team and program, it's really, really cool.
Hey, did I read that Derek has actually caddied for you before?
Yeah, Derek's caddied for me in the past 3 U.S. juniors he's carried for me. So
What's
every U.S.
that
junior I
like?
played.
What's it like to have the brother on the bag? I mean, he's the older brother, but
Yeah.
I mean, what's that feeling?
He's been, I mean, as a caddy, my brother's been really, really good just because, I mean, we play with each other all the time. So he knows my game. He knows everything and, knows where I'm like, what I want to do with certain shots and knows how aggressive I want to be. And, he knows my yardages. So it's really helpful when you got, two minds, especially when someone like knows your game that well. It's really helpful because, you can be more successful. And that's why every U.S. junior, I think, every U.S. junior we played pretty well. I mean, I made it to the round of 16 the first 2 years, and then made it to the round of 32 and one stroke play in 2019. So I mean, we were pretty successful. We never got the win, but I mean, we did really, really well as a team.
Let's think back to pre-COVID-19, if we could, in the month of February. You were putting together a pretty good month. I know you got the Ben Hogan Golf of the Month award, but couple of tournament wins. I mean, were you just kind of grooving it at that point in February?
Yeah, well, I mean, me, coach, and Coach Mark Leon, and our assistant, our volunteer assistant Dudley Hart, we sat down. Everybody had to talk at the end of the fall and just meet up with them and see what we need to work on, what you thought to do better. And I talked a lot about my mental game and how I think it just needed a little, just to change and just, have that calm, just strong mentality. And, I walked out onto the course in the spring, just felt calm, just felt like, I just felt confident. And in the first tournament played really well. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even realize I won the tournament at the CBES until after I walked off the green when they were congratulating me. I was just so focused on, playing my own game that I totally forgot about the scores and everything like that. I didn't realize until I walked off the green that I won and all my teammates were congratulating me. But I mean, that was pretty cool. But I mean, the Gator was really, really special when I won that. Just because, I mean, the mindset I had was I just didn't want to give anybody else a chance. I just wanted to go out there and, just shoot a low number that way. People would have to come to me. And, I played really well that day. And to make that final putt on the last hole to win by 8 just was really, really special, especially in front of your home crowd. And we won the Gator by 18 strokes and I won by 8 strokes. So, I mean, to show like the dominance on your home track, it was really, really cool.
Yeah, and impressive, by the way. JC, you played with a guy who won this award, and Ryan Moore at UNLV. I think Ryan won it in 2005. I remember when he came to Fort Worth. Knowing that, seeing Ryan win that award, playing with Ryan, have you been able to share some of that history and what the prestige of the Ben Hogan Award means? Have you been able to share that with Ricky?
Yeah, Ryan and Ricky actually they've reminded me of each other a lot. Yeah. Ryan's competitiveness was very, very much like Ricky's. We would compete over everything, and when we were actually roommates together freshman year at UNLV, and I obviously got to know him really well, and we're still in touch today. And they're very, very similar, and losing's just not an option. But yeah, just you look at the list of previous winners of the Hogan Award, it really is kind of the who's who of professional golf these days. And Ryan Moore's had just a phenomenal, I think, it's almost a 20-year career to date. And Ricky's got a chance to do those things. And, I think the amazing thing about Ricky is, as these comparisons have kind of grown and he's getting involved with these awards and being in consideration and winning the Phil Mickelson Freshman of the Year award, he really welcomes that. And it's not, it's not a pressure thing. Mm-hmm. This is what he's kind of been destined to do and focus on doing. And I feel like it almost makes Ricky better. And that was exactly how Ryan was. Kind of the bigger the spotlight is, the more these guys perform to their highest level. And that's just something I never had. I wish I did, but it's fun being around these guys and watching their genius. And, we're all so excited to see what Ricky's going to do. And it's, we're going to push him real hard, but he's got a chance to be really, really special.
Well, Ricky, we're excited that you're one of the finalists for the Hogan Award this year. Hey, what do you do outside of golf, Ricky? You got any other hobbies? You got any other interests? What occupies your time?
Probably the biggest thing when I'm not hanging out with my girlfriend is probably when I play ping pong. At Florida, it's very, very important that you play ping pong, and you're good.
Now, JC, is that because of you? Are you a ping pong player? Is that why?
I pride myself probably on my ping pong game more than my golf game.
Yeah.
And I destroyed Ricky in the fall. I'll tell you, this tells you everything you need to know about Ricky. I destroyed him. He couldn't beat me. He had no answer for my backhand. And he started watching YouTube and these ping pong videos.
Right.
And he learned all these techniques and spin serves. I think I beat him once in the spring, and it drove me nuts. So
I beat him like 10 times. I think I beat him like 9 times in a row. And then that's when COVID-19 happened. We haven't played since, but I knew he was just losing his mind because he was so used to beating me every single time. And the fact that he wasn't beating me just drove him nuts.
Well, don't let COVID-19 keep you away from practice, though, man. I mean, don't you got to get on the table sometime.
Yeah.
You got to get after it.
Exactly,
it's literally getting to a point where I've been trying to lose some weight during this break so that I'll be a little quicker to get to his ping pong balls next
I like that. You got to lose weight to play ping pong. I love it, man. It works. Hey, fellas, this has been great fun. I wish we could have done it in person. We'd love to have you in Fort Worth. We look forward to the day when you are in Fort Worth. We look forward when you're playing at Colonial, Ricky. That's what we want. We want to see that here in the very near future. But, fellas, we appreciate you taking the time to be with us. Best of luck. Stay safe. And again, good luck as we continue to narrow this field down.
Yeah, thank you for having us.
Yeah, thanks, Brian, to you and everyone on the Ben Hogan Award Committee. It's a huge honor for Ricky and I, and we wish we could be there to shake everyone's hand and say thank you as well. But really unique honor for the University of Florida and for Ricky, and just a huge thank you to everyone involved.
All right, there you have it. Thank you, JC. Ricky Castillo, one of our finalists here for the Ben Hogan Award.
Saheth Thigala, Pepperdine, senior from Chino Hills, California. Senior Saheth Thigala led Pepperdine to the #1 ranking in college golf and became a first-team Ping All-America and the school's first ever Ben Hogan Award finalist in the process. Highlighting his amateur play, he claimed victory at the 2020 Australian Master of the Amateurs and also reached match play at both the U.S. Amateur and Western Amateur last summer. Thigala also was the 2019 Southern California Golf Association champion and the Ben Hogan Award's January Golfer of the Month. In college play, he recorded a pair of victories, placed among the top 20 at all 8 events, and became the Wave's all-time leader in scoring average and victories. A senior from Chino Hills, California, Saheth Thigala.
Saheth, welcome in, man. Good to see your face.
Thanks a lot, Brian. Appreciate it. Yeah, good to see you as well.
And joining him here is his coach out at Pepperdine, Michael Beard. Michael, good to see you too, man.
Thank you, Brian. Thanks for having me on.
All right, let's dive right into this, fellas. Saheth, tell me what you know about the Ben Hogan Award and what you've learned here over the last couple of weeks about it.
Yeah, obviously, Ben Hogan Award is one of the most prestigious awards any college or amateur golfer can get. Obviously, the list of names that have won this before, you can't imagine being on a list of names like that. So it's definitely super special to even be considered as a finalist, and I'm very honored about that.
Michael, you're a historian of the game. I know as a coach, all coaches are. You have to be. Have you found yourself sharing at all with Saheth what Ben Hogan was about, or kind of revisiting that, or have you gone back and followed much about his game and said, you know what, here's some things that remind me about Ben? Can you relate the two at all?
Well, for sure. I mean, I've never met Ben. My dad actually had the privilege of playing quite a bit with him on the tour and got to know him a decent amount. So I've shared stories from what I've heard from my dad with Saheth, and I think the work ethic is something similar that from what I've heard of Ben with Saheth, and I think in a way also Ben being an introvert, I think Saheth is a little bit that way too. So I mean there definitely are similarities.
So if I would have never known that, man, in our conversation here, I wouldn't have labeled you an introvert. Come on. Tell me about your practice regime, though. I mean, tell me about that regiment that you go through. I mean, is that something that you take a lot of pride in?
Yeah, that wasn't something that I was always good at, especially coming into college. I think with the help of Coach Beard and the guys around me at Pepperdine, I really stepped that up into the next gear, and that's definitely shown in my game. But I feel like I take a lot of pride, especially in the short game practice for me. I just love going to the chipping green and getting chipping games going. And I might not be the most when it comes to drills with putting, chipping, hitting a lot of balls on the range. I'm not really that kind of guy. I like to feel out my practices, but I think we've got it down to a little bit of science, what works best for me.
That's interesting when you talk about your time on the range and practice, because I hear through rumors out there that you'll have a tendency to shank one every once in a while on the practice tee.
Sure, yeah.
That might be on purpose. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so it started, I'd say it started when I was younger, maybe beginning of high school. It was just a way for me to keep loose. I've always loved the game of golf, and even though I'm an introvert, I like a little bit of an entertainment factor with the guys that are close to me. So I just found it a way to keep it loose before, a big tournament or a big match, kind of get everyone in the right mindset. And I'd always joke around saying that, might as well get the bad shots out of the way, right? Save the good ones for the course. So it's not something I really think about. I'm not trying to mess with anyone's head or anything like that. It's honestly all just for fun and to stay loose before.
That's funny because I heard about it from John Rahm, a former Ben Hogan Award winner, who's come back. And John told me about you doing that in front of him several years ago at one point.
Yeah, that's still one of my most, if not the most memorable shank I ever hit on driving range. It was at Meadow Club in 2015, I believe. It was my freshman year. So yeah, it was the best shank I've ever hit. I think it literally went 90 degrees across the range just in front of everyone. So that's something I won't forget.
Michael, the first time you see that as a coach, I know how you guys are. You're perfectionists. What'd you think of that?
Well, the very first time I remember thinking was actually his first tournament, and we didn't know what to expect, really. He'd already kind of had stated he was a little nervous on his first college event. I mean, he was excited, and then to couple it with just hitting it horrible on the range and, couldn't barely find the club face chipping. And then he gets on the first tee, which was a tight little hole, and he just piped it right down the middle. So I knew we were going to be okay after that.
I love it, though. That keeps everybody loose. Saheth, tell me about the year that you had to sit out. And 18 and 19. And I know you had a wrist injury that you were dealing with, but how hard was that for you to do? And how did it actually make you better?
Yeah, so I've actually been telling a lot of people this, is that I'm just really thankful for that year. You got to take everything in a positive light. And obviously, initially when I knew I needed surgery and I was going to be out for so long, I was super bummed because even though I'm pretty quiet, I think of myself as a very competitive person, and just the thought of me not being able to compete was killing me. But it really made me realize that golf wasn't the most important thing in my life. Maybe I was getting a little bit too caught up in golf that prior year, and was taking away from other parts of my life a little bit. And I just realized I have such a great support group of family and friends behind me that, regardless of what happens on the golf course, I'm always going to have these people surrounding me. And just kind of keeping that perspective once I got back into golf has really helped me loosen up a little bit. And I don't think I've had more fun playing the game than I have this past year after that recovery.
Michael, what did you learn about him watching him through that recovery process and then the return to the game? What did you learn about his work ethic?
I'd say what I learned the most was that how much he loved the game. It just killed him not to be able to be out there, and also how much he loved his teammates and loved team golf at Pepperdine. So yeah, I mean, I'd say, and then gradually working his way back. He's very patient, even though he wanted it so bad. So yeah, I mean, I think he handled the whole situation just the best he could.
You, Saheth, you needed some good news. We all needed good news at this point. Obviously, dealing with the pandemic, you're the first ever finalist from Pepperdine. That's a great honor, I know. But I also know that you're a real big Kobe Bryant fan.
Yeah.
And so this has been a tough year for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a brutal year. Obviously, the Kobe thing hit really close to home, as it did with a lot of other people. He was my childhood idol growing up, and the first two sports that I loved watching was basketball and golf, and I was super passionate about basketball when I was younger too. And I have memories of me and my dad sitting down and watching Kobe through his years with the championships, especially the 2009, 2010, that kind of era, and obviously younger too. There's videos of me watching him, but I've always admired him for his the Mamba mentality that he had, and I don't think there's ever going to be another person that could mimic what he can do. But I've always tried to at least have some percentage of what Kobe had in terms of his mentality. So obviously it was terrible that what happened, and it hit even closer to home because he crashed in Calabasas, and my apartment was in Calabasas, and it was during our home event, and it was going to be my last home event in front of the Pepperdine crowd. So it was just a combination of things that was just terrible, but I was just glad I could pay respects to him there at the end of that tournament.
And you did by wearing his jersey, right? Tell us what went into that thinking.
Yeah. So the crash happened. The terrible day was the practice round day. And immediately after the practice round, after we did our team stuff, I went back to my apartment, grabbed my shoes and my jersey, and I figured I had to do something just to pay respects to Kobe. And I ended up wearing the jersey, warming up a little bit for the final round, and then I wasn't sure exactly what I was going to do on the course, but I ended up wearing it after I hit my second shot on 18. Walked up to the green with it, hit both my putts with it, and it just worked out that I had a one-shot lead, and I ended up taking the win there. It just couldn't have played out much better.
Michael, what did you think when you saw him with the jersey? I mean, the impact, obviously, that Kobe had on a lot of young people is greater than some of us will ever know. But what did you think when you saw him do that?
Well, I think I was actually with him on the 18th fairway, and he had it in his bag, and he asked me, he said, "What do you think, Coach?" I said, "Hey, this is all you. You got to go with your heart, you know." So I mean, this is it was just a cool way. I mean, some people could, maybe look at it as a way of, him having a one-shot lead and being, kind of like, okay, I got this in the bag, I'm going to pull out the jersey. But I know he would have done that if he was one shot down. So it wasn't about where he was in the tournament. It was just so neat that he could put that stuff aside and just, honor Kobe the way he did was really special.
I mentioned earlier that Sahith is the first finalist for the Hogan Award from Pepperdine. You played at Pepperdine in addition to coaching there, Michael. What does that mean to the program to finally have a Hogan Award finalist in the group?
Well, we've had a lot of great players, and it's surprising to me that this is our first finalist, but it's been so special for me just to kind of start or go through this journey with Sahith, and to be able to be there from the start with him. And it's just been, I've learned so much from him. It's been an honor just to be able to be around him, and I'm so excited about his future.
There was no team in the country playing better than you guys at the time of the pandemic hit. I mean, Sahith, y'all were number one in the country, right? In that final one before coronavirus. I mean, do you find yourself going to the what if scenario, or do you just say, you know what, I'm not going to go there. I'm not going to allow myself to go there?
Oh, I mean, of course we have. I think it's pretty impossible not to, with not only with the year we had, but the buildup we had coming into this year. A lot of guys put in a lot of work, especially the coaches, to have this year, to give ourselves this opportunity that we had. And we were seeing it through, and for the season to end right there, I mean, it was absolutely killer to all of us. And I'm still a little bit bummed about it because the national championship, I think, would be starting here in a couple of days. So maybe once that's done, I'll get over it a little more. But definitely think about the what-if situations, because we knew we had a special team, and we felt like if we had the opportunity, that I'm not sure there was another team that was more favored to win.
Michael, how have you handled it? I know it had to be tough on you too.
Oh, it's been tough. I mean, it's something you build, like Sahith was saying, we've been 6-7 years in the making trying to get to this year.
Right.
And for it to all come together, and he's right. It felt like we were building to even though we had already had a great start to the year, it felt like we had just kind of starting to hit our stride. So, I think all we can do is look for next year now, and I'm excited about what that looks like. And the opportunity of getting in there and getting in the mix again.
All right, fellas. Well, this has been fun. I wish we could have done this in person. I wish we could all be together. Hopefully we will here soon, and hopefully, Saheth, we see you playing here at Colonial very soon. Let's leave with this. Have you been able to consider what this means to be in this group, to be one of these finalists? You talked earlier about all the names that have won this award.
Yeah.
It is sort of a way to say, you know what, you're on the right path. But what does it mean to you to be in that group?
Yeah, again, like I said, it means the world to me just to be, in the finalists and to be mentioned with, again, all those other names. And it's also a testament to the other guys that have made it as finalists. They've put in a lot of work and have played great golf. So just to be, again, in that mix is a big honor to me. And again, to see where a lot of those guys on that list have gone through with the rest of their careers, it certainly bodes well for me to be among these finalists. So I'm definitely looking forward to what's next.
All right. Well, let's make the best of a difficult situation for all of us, and keep fighting, keep playing hard. We look forward to seeing you down the road, and the next time we'll do it in person. Let's go ahead and make a pact on that. Saheth Theegala,
right.
Michael Beard, good to see you guys. Thanks for joining us here. As you can see there, it is a terrific group of finalists. And we want to say a very special thank you to all those involved in both collegiate and amateur golf throughout the world. Tonight wouldn't happen without them. It also would not happen without our great friends at Konica Minolta. They've been a part of the Ben Hogan Award for the last 5 years and are terrific partners. Let's learn more about them right now.
You're the doers, the thinkers, and the makers, the disruptors, the innovators, the movers, and shapers, the builders, the high flyers, and the triers, the make it happen, get it done, up all-nighters. Your job is making the world work. Ours is helping you do it. Let's get the future working better.
Thank you once again to our friends at Konica Minolta, to Friends of Golf, to Marty Leonard, to the Virginia Hobbs Charitable Trust. They allow us to award $30,000 in scholarships to the respective schools of the finalists here tonight. $15,000 to the winner's school, $7,500 each to our 2 runner-ups. Well, now that you've seen the resumes of our finalists, it's time to find out who the winner is. Remember now, we take into account amateur and college golf, the careers of these players, how this season went for them specifically. And then it's voted on by a terrific committee, some of the who's in college golf, and really all of golf for that matter. It's all taken into account. Time now to find out who tonight's winner is. Who will be the student athlete that represents the Ben Hogan Award for 2020? And for that, let's go live to Colonial Country Club, where the chairman of the Ben Hogan Award Committee, Harold Muckleroy, is standing by. Harold?
Thank you, Brian. It's been a pleasure to serve as the 2020 chairman of the Ben Hogan Award. I want to congratulate all 3 of our finalists. They had outstanding years, and we're very proud of them. They join a fraternity of finalists that has the who's of professional golf. At this time, though, it's time to present the winner. So I'm here to reveal the winner of the 2020 Ben Hogan Award. And the winner is Saheth Theegala, Pepperdine University. Congratulations, Saheth. Now let's go live out to California, where Coach Beard, Pepperdine University's head coach, and Friends of Golf, the Little Pro, and Sal Simbola are there to present the award.
So Heath.
How's it going?
Good. I'm Sal Simbola, CEO of Fraud.
How are you doing?
Good. Congratulations, you won the Hogan Trophy.
Wow.
Yeah.
No way. Thank you very much. That's unreal.
Your name is now attached to one of the greatest golfers that ever lived. You had an outstanding year, not only as a golfer, but as a person. You have honored your coach, your school, and the West Coast Conference. And congratulations.
Thank you very much.
You're now part of the Hogan family.
Appreciate that.
Okay.
That's.
Grab this.
something sweet.
Yeah,
Pretty cool, huh?
yeah.
Yes.
Go ahead.
All right, we'll need that one.
All right, cool. And then I'm going to zoom in on him, and then you give him the trophy, and he'll explain the next portion.
Put that down.
Okay,
Thanks, Eddie. Thank you.
Saeed, I'm Eddie Marins, and I'm here to present the Ben Hogan Award Trophy from the Colonial Country Club, who are partners with Bel Air in the award, the Ben Hogan Award.
Awesome.
You deserve everything you're getting.
Thank
and
you.
More power to you, and congratulations as well to your school, Pepperdine.
Thank you very much. This is awesome, especially to be able to do it for Pepperdine and to have my name associated with Mr. Hogan and all the great things that come with that. It's really cool. It's going to take a little while to set in, but thank you very much.
And they want you to.
Okay, here soon, we're going to sit down with Sawheth and let him get settled in here first. I know he's got to be a little surprised at the fact that he's the 2020 Ben Hogan Award champion. All three of our finalists, well-deserving here tonight. Sawheth walks away the winner here this evening. We're going to visit with him shortly, but as he gets settled in, let's find out a little bit about the history here and, well, the company that Sawheth joins now as a Ben Hogan Award winner.
I was 3 years old, and my dad drove past the driving range every day to work, and then he said one day, okay, I need to try it. So then when he came back home, he brought a golf set, and that's how I tried it and just kind of stuck to it and kept on playing. When I came to Oklahoma State, I was amazed by kind of the culture that they had there. I've been there for almost 3 years, and it's been probably the best decision I've ever made in my life. Just being nominated for the Ben Hogan Award is something that's pretty special. There's only 3 of us here. It's cool to have Matt here as well. 2 Cowboys nominated for this year, so we help each other get better. And I would not be where I am today without Matt. Just to kind of be associated with Ben Hogan's name in any way, that's obviously a very cool achievement. You'd always like to be the guy, but I realized that with the 2 other guys, Matt and Colin, they've had such amazing years themselves. So I was just really happy to be here and be nominated, to be honest with you.
The winner of the 2019 Ben Hogan Award is Victor Hovland.
I thought, shoot, now I have to give a speech. That was almost the first thing I thought.
Tonight was a great night for Victor, for Norway, and for Oklahoma State.
Right after just hearing John Rahm speak about how it was for him to win the award, and then obviously Doug Gim, who I've played a bunch of golf with and is a dear friend, so that made it even more special. It's very humbling to be standing up here as just a kid growing up in Norway. I didn't really know what Oklahoma State was before going there, and it's been a very cool journey. The things that I've been able to experience and the people that I've gotten to meet, it's really humbling, and just to be associated with the name Ben Hogan. He's just a character that's shown amazing grit and perseverance, but yeah, it's a true honor to be standing up here with you. Thank you.
He's still on the rise. I don't think he's played his best golf yet. He's a real student of the game, works hard. Can't wait to see what he does for us next week and the rest of his amateur career and then on to the tour.
John Rahm and Hunter Mahan, Ricky Fowler, just so many established names that have won this award. So if you can accomplish that, that means you've got a pretty bright future ahead.
Well, congratulations to Sawheth there, the champion now, the winner of the Ben Hogan Award. And Michael Beard joins us right now, the head coach there at Pepperdine. And Michael, but while we give Sawheth a chance to kind of regroup and get ready for a little visit with us, give us some context as to what you feel like this means for your program, for you, and for Sawheth.
Oh man, that's a lot. We've had so many great players that have come through this program. So, for Sawheth to win this, really puts him,
even ahead of those in college, and just what he's done the last 4 or 5 years with the redshirt year has been so special. He's represented his family, his friends, university with class, and we're just so proud of him.
Now, we talked earlier, your dad played with Ben Hogan on the tour. You know maybe more about Ben Hogan than most. Relate that story that you told us about how you feel like Sawheth's work ethic is very similar to what you learned about Ben Hogan's.
Yeah, I've just heard stories from my dad, and he had the privilege to play with him in the 1966 U.S. Open at Olympic Club, and had dinner with him after one night, and anyway, drew a liking to my dad. So I've heard a lot of stories about him, which has been really, really neat. But one of the things that he did talk about a lot was his work ethic, and Sawheth has a very similar approach in that when he's practicing and when he's going about doing his work, he's all in with it. He's not looking around. He is extremely focused, and that is the only thing going on in his life at that moment. And that's what I've seen the last 4 or 5 years, and it's gotten even better as he's come into his senior year now.
But he's not a guy who doesn't enjoy a good time as well, right? We've learned that he has fun while he plays the game.
That's right. He's super relaxed out there. It's not it doesn't appear to be too serious for him when he's out there, but always enjoy walking with him and being with him, and just has such a great demeanor when he's out there competing as well.
Michael, you've talked a little bit about the history of Pepperdine golf and the success that you guys have had. Where does this stack up? You think about all that success, the pros that you've produced. Where does now having a Ben Hogan Award recipient, where does it stack up in the list?
Well, that's a good question. We won the national championship before I got to Pepperdine in 1997. I think that was a pretty special year, pretty special team, and we've had a lot of great players. But yeah, for us now, this feels like a team award. I think all the guys on the team would feel that way. All the coaches, our athletic department, this feels like a team. Like I said, team award. So right now in the moment, this feels pretty special at the top of the list, I'd say.
Well, Michael, next year we're going to be able to celebrate Sawheth in Fort Worth in person at Colonial Country Club, and we look forward to seeing you there as part of that as well, okay?
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love it.
All right, that's Michael Beard, the terrific head coach at Pepperdine. We've given Sawheth an opportunity now to kind of regroup, take it all in, and let's visit with the 2020 Ben Hogan Award champion now. Sawheth Thagala is a guy who, as you heard Michael Beard talk, is a fun-loving guy, enjoys the game of golf, but he takes it very seriously, seriously enough to the point where now he is considered the top collegiate golfer in all the land. And Sawheth, thanks for hopping on with us here today. After all this, I know this has got to be an emotional day for you, one you didn't expect, one you didn't see coming. And give us some sense of what that was like when that doorbell rang and you saw Eddie Merrins and Sal Cimbola sitting outside waiting on you.
Yeah. First of all, thanks, Brian. Appreciate it. I mean, this has been, I'm still trying to, take it in. I mean, it just happened. So it was definitely a big surprise that they just came knocking on my door and boom, there were the awards there. It was definitely caught me a little off guard, but it was super cool. I mean, I can't say enough of how special it is to me to have my family and my coaches, and, it meant the world to me. And, again, winning the Ben Hogan Award is something it's going to take a little bit to get used to here. So I'm super excited, though.
When you saw the list of the 3 finalists, and it was a terrific group this year, and even though
the
season was cut short and it was kind of a goofy time, did you ever try to rate your chances? Did you give yourself odds on whether or not you were going to win?
That's really tough to do because those other 2 guys, they've worked really hard and they've played really well all year as well. So hats off to those guys. And it's tough to put yourself above those other guys. Obviously you look at the rankings and stuff, and we're all pretty stacked close together, and the wins that we had, and obviously there's a reason why the 3 finalists for the 3 finalists. So I never tried to put myself ahead of them, but I know either way it went, I could definitely see why each of these people were the finalists, and I'm just really happy that I ended up on top.
Your coach, Michael Beard, talked about the fact that this was really, in his mind, a team award.
Yeah,
Do you look at it the same way?
absolutely. If I don't have my teammates there or my coaches there or my Pepperdine family there or my actual family there to push me, I don't think I get this award because we were just so competitive as a team this year. I know there's a couple other teams that could say that, but those guys pushed me every step of the way to become better. And obviously being the number one team in the country, that certainly helped. I had plenty of guys that, we had a couple All-Americans on our team, and we were such a deep team that, every time I went to practice or every time I stepped up to a tournament, those guys were pushing me really hard. So I definitely attribute a lot of this to my Pepperdine team.
Saheth, give us some semblance of what the future looks like for you. What's your time frame? What's your schedule?
Yeah.
What do the next couple of years look like for you?
Yeah, so hopefully this summer I get to play in some PGA Tour events through some exemptions, which will be really cool to start off my pro career this summer. Obviously, all the Q schools and stuff like that, it's an unfortunate time they got canceled. So I'm definitely going to try and play as much as possible, play some mini tour stuff. And pretty much I'm not too worried about the opportunities. I think I'll have, chances to showcase my game coming up. So I'm just excited to start the journey, I can't wait to get it started.
You might want to keep one weekend open if you don't mind. We got a very special guest joining us right now. Rob Hood is the chairman of the Charles Schwab Challenge. And Rob's got a very special presentation for us right now.
Congratulations, Saheth. On behalf of the Charles Schwab Challenge and Colonial Country Club, it is my pleasure to extend to you the very first invitation to compete in the 2021 Charles Schwab Challenge here at Colonial Country Club. We'll see you next May.
Saheth, now you have the opportunity to play next year. This at the Charles Schwab Challenge. This is an invitation that we give to the Ben Hogan Award champions every year, and you're deserving of it, and we look forward to seeing you in Fort Worth.
Thank you very much, Rob. I can't wait for the opportunity. That's going to be an awesome event. Hopefully I get my Pepperdine family, my actual family out there to cheer me on. But yeah, thanks for the opportunity. That's going to be so awesome.
Thanks again for joining us for the 2020 Ben Hogan Award, and congratulations to Saheth. We look forward to seeing you back here again next year, live and in person at Colonial Country Club. Thank you again for joining us.